Hello students, welcome to the Civil Sub. Now we will discuss the issue of Sandeshkhali, why it is in news. Recently, the Sandeshkhali region is in news with respect to the land grab or land alienation. The land of the tribal people is being grabbed by the few local politicians, and these land is using as their own property. So we just link this issue of Sandeshkhali with respect to our anthropology syllabus. This falls under the paper 2 6.2, where issues of tribal people are in India, where it given the land alienation, education, health, unemployment, indebtedness, and so many other things. But now you just restricted to the topic of land alienation and the Sandeshkhali, what is happening there. The people of our local people in Sandeshkhali taking the land from the tribal people without their consent and using it as their own property. This can be termed as land alienation. Land alienation. Land alienation can be defined as unwanted transfer of land to the from the tribal people to the non-tribal people. Unwanted transfer. Unwanted transfer. Unwanted transfer of land from tribes to non-tribes, or in general sense, non-tribes to non-tribes. Particularly with respect to anthropology, we see the unwanted transfer of land from the tribes to non-tribes. This we define as land alienation. As we know, land is the social identity or like employment generation or basis for it, and so many other things. But these people are local tribal peoples were made as landless people. This issue of land alienation was studied by so many anthropologists like L.P. Vidyarthi, Verrier Elvin, S.C. Dubey, and institutions like Planning Commission, Niti Ayog, and so many other things, so many other institutions. And you just see the status of land alienation with respect to tribal people in India, or else generally status of land alienation. As per the Planning Commission, the PC, around 32 to 55% of the households in India affected because of land alienation, or faced the problem of land alienation. And this, if you put this into numbers, around 60 million people were being displaced or rehabilitated because of land alienation. Of these, 20% are the Dalits and 20% are rural communities, plus others were tribals. So the issue of land alienation not only within the tribals with respect to Dalits, rural communities, because of so many other issues. And we see the land record or status of land holding. In land holding, in general, India is 1.1 hectares of land. In tribal people, it is around 0.8 hectares. This figure can be used in GS3 land reforms. Necessity of land reforms and the average land holding. That means so many people hold beyond this amount, and very less people are very few people or more people who hold less than this 1.1 hectares of land. And the reasons for land alienation, we just see the reasons for land alienation. Land alienation reasons, why it is happening, land alienation. Is it because of lack of governance, or lack of so many other things, or development, or so many negative issues? Just we see with respect to land alienation, defective system of land records. First foremost issue is defective system of land records, and conservation methods. Conservation like national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, tiger reserves, and others. Because of this, around 4 lakh tribal people were rehabilitated or resettled. Great examples or case studies is like recently Saharia tribe from the Kuno National Park have been replaced or displaced because of the project Cheetah. With respect, and Bagata tribe in Madhya Pradesh because of Kanha National Park. This is happening across the India with respect to tiger reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, and national parks, biosphere reserves, and so many other things, especially conservation. The tribal people being displacing, and other is development of railways, dams, roadways, airports, and others. For example, Chenchus in Nagarjuna Sagar and Srisalem. Project construction, these people were displaced, but their rehabilitation was not completed or incomplete rehabilitation. Because of this, they became very vulnerable. And the fourth one is mining, especially Chota Nagpur area, where the high concentration of tribal people were living. Example, Orans, Santals. There in this area, there are waves of rehabilitation, resettlement was done, or like land alienation was taken place. Waves of land alienation taken place. This was studied by the LPV. This was renamed as the industrial nomadism. First, local people were rehabilitated because of mining. Secondly, because of industry. Third, because of roads, railways, and so many other reasons. Local peoples were continuously rehabilitating, and they been land alienating from their own or ancestral land. So this was dubbed as the industrial nomadism by the LP Vidyarthi. And these are the few popular reasons with respect to land alienation. And in the case of Sandeshkhali, land grabbing by the few powerful and political people, powerful political leaders. The issue of land alienation is being occurring in these areas. So after studying the reasons of the land alienation, just we see the methods of land alienation in tribal people. Methods of land alienation. The first foremost method of land alienation is manipulation of land records. Manipulation. This is very much observed in mainstream society. And benami transfers. Benami transfers and encroachments. What is happening in the Sandeshkhali? And mortgage of land records. This been observing among the many tribes, especially Araku and other tribes. This issue of mortgage of land records, because of their low economic status or unemployment and lack of money, they been mortgage their land records in local money lenders and taking money, and manipulation of land records by the, as happened in Sandeshkhali or so many other places of India. And these are the methods of land alienation or operating procedures of land alienation among the tribal people, and in general it is taking place in mainstream society also. And after studying the methods of land alienation, now it is the time to study the why or impact of the land alienation on the tribal people. Impact. Why we should focus on land alienation among the tribal peoples in general, because it has very negative effect on the tribal people, especially tribal people, as as the Verrier Elvin stated. Verrier Elvin stated that tribal people have the kinship bond with the land and a spiritual bond with the forest. If they were rehabilitated or loss of their land, they will lose this kinship bond and spiritual bond with respect to land or with respect to forest. So this causes so many negative effects on their day-to-day life. We will see how it is affecting their day-to-day life, like worshipping places, sacred groves, ancestral burial site. And loss of kinship ties, especially with respect to kins. After rehabilitating, the family of or nearby families were rehabilitated at different places. They lost their close kinship or close knit among their tribes or their people. So this causing the psychological trauma among the local people. And after land alienation, unemployment. As land is the basis for the agriculture gives the employment opportunities. But they were lost their land, so they have been unemployed. Unemployment people is generally poor or poverty, rise of poverty, and poverty leads to ill health. Ill health leads to undernourishment, and after undernourishment again same thing will fall, unemployment. The vicious cycle of poverty and unemployment will continue because of land alienation and indebtedness, even indebtedness also. The vicious cycle will be perpetuate. So in order to curtail this being shown in this spiritual and all other bonds in the movie of Kantara. How local people will tied with the spiritually with respect to forest or local goddess or ancestral sites or ancestral groves and so many other things. So now after seeing reasons and methods of the land alienation, it is time to how can we prevent or what are the measures taken with respect to land alienations. Special taken measures. They are the Forest Rights Act, FRA, which is very crucial, very important act with legislation with respect to the prevention of land alienation or giving the land to the local people, where 4 hectares of land being guaranteed or legal title with respect to tribal people. And Schedule 5. Schedule 5, PESA Act. Consent of the Gram Sabha is mandatory with respect to land acquisition. Consent of Gram Sabha is mandatory. Land Acquisition and Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act 2013, where fair compensation and transparency in land acquisition should be taken place. This is the landmark legislation with respect to rehabilitation resettlement, especially fair compensation. Before that there was less or meager compensation who have been displaced, but after the enactment of this legislation, local people have been compensated fairly with respect to the loss of land and loss of properties and so many other things. And So many state governments have taken so many legislation or regulative measures with respect to prevention of land alienation. Example: AP scheduled area land transfer, so land transfer Regulation Act 1959, where land transfer from the scheduled areas is prevented with respect to tribes to non-tribes, and digitization of land records. Digitization of land records. Modernization of land records and modernization of land records bill or procedure. Under this, we have been digitizing the land records in order to prevent the land alienation among the tribal peoples. So this being studied or this being prevented with respect to the by following the risk reconstruction model. Risk reconstruction model of the MC Michael. He gave the 8 types of vulnerabilities or 8 types of preventions or loss to the tribal people after land alienation. In order to understanding these vulnerabilities and preventing them while land reconstruction or land rehabilitation of the tribal people. Example: homelessness, joblessness, mortality, morbidity, loss of ancestral land, ancestor worshipping site, marginalization, and other things because of the land alienation among the tribes. We need to map these vulnerabilities of the tribal people who have been displaced or rehabilitating, so that we can prevent these vulnerabilities from the tribal people and we can make them inclusive or participating in developmental process or conservating measures, so that it will be more democratic process. So the topic of land alienation being completed, and the issue of land grabbing in Sandeshkhali region is very much linked to our topic of the 6.2 land alienation. So it is very sad incident. In democratic society, this shouldn't be happen. Every people have right to property or right to have their right to possess their land. So you need to condemn this issue of land alienation or Sandeshkhali issue. Okay, the topic of this is completed, and please share, like and subscribe among your friends. Thank you.